Hello, my friends. On this day of presidential inauguration, let us discuss the following topic. What is the best form of government in the world? From the perspective of Torah. So we're talking about from what is the message of a Noahide to the world on this inauguration day. For this class, we'll be using only material that we already discussed in our classes during the last 2 years. So we draw some conclusions, some ideas from the material that is already familiar to you. To answer the question, what is the best government in the world? For that, let us go to Genesis chapter 1, and we can ask, first of all, what is the first message of the Torah to mankind? What did Moses elect to present at the beginning of the 5 books as the opening of the entire 5 books? What is the foremost, most important message that he elects to present? So the best answer, the first answer is, the verse says that at the beginning, Elohim created heaven and earth. So the world was created by the Almighty Judge, Elohim, to stand judgment. So Rosh Hashanah, which is the birthday of creation, we celebrate it as a day of universal judgment. From a mosquito to mankind, everyone stands in judgment on Rosh Hashanah, because the universe was created by Elohim, the judge, to stand judgment. Now, what kind of judgment we are talking? So the rest of the chapter tell us what the judgment is. So first, the Torah says that for 6 long days, Elohim, as a builder, created the world awesomely alone, as a dictator, by giving orders. He said, let it be, and things happened. He said, let it be grass, and grass was there. He said, let the luminary be seen in the sky, and there were. So throughout the entire 6 days, he consulted no one. He asked no one opinion. He invited no one to participate with him in creation. And there was no one to reject what he's saying. So for the 6 days, he created as a sole dictator, if you wish, like a tyrant in the upper hand, because there was no one even to dare to object his command. And for 6 days, it created the universe very efficiently from day to day. And at the end of the day, judged the day that he just created, and he deemed it good. He was pleased. So things went on according to whatever plan he had on his mind. Now, at the end of the day, when he judged the passing day, things that were not deemed good, he eliminated right there with no mercy, in the sake of efficiency. They were not needed anymore. Take the dinosaurs, take the other beast, ancient beasts that once ruled the earth. They done their job and they were not needed anymore. So they were eliminated without a flick of an eye, without any mercy, for the sake of efficiency. Teaching us, first of all, that indeed dictatorship like that can be very efficient and achieve its goal. So if we ask what is the best form of government, here comes the Torah and tell us if you walk in the ways of Elohim, you can create an endeavor very efficiently. You can rule yourself as in a government, in a dictatorship. Train will go on time. There will be no strike, no inflation, and it will be very efficient. And the ruler will be very pleased. Now, the fact that he eliminated those who were not needed anymore tell us a dictatorship can eliminate his opponents or things that he think that dictator doesn't need them anymore. So the dictatorship can eliminate opposition or obstacles without any mercy. Now, the Torah says, and Elohim continued to create as ever before, he would have reached the point, the end of the sixth day, when he would have terminated at the end of the day, not only that sixth day, but the entire universe, the entire 6 days. As he said, on the sixth day, at the end of the sixth day, he examined everything that he has made. And he would have eliminated the entire building like he did, like he had done with other universes before. That's what Rashi in the Midrash says. So this time, on the other hand, Elohim decided to offer our world a chance to endure, but on condition that it would elevate itself to be not just good as ever before, but if it has elevated itself to be very good. That's in the text. Now, if the word, how can a word elevate itself from good to very good? The word doesn't have any mental capacity that we understand. So for that, Elohim created Adam. Adam will have the task to fulfill. On one hand, Adam would be a ruler of the world, a little king that ruled over the world, that's chapter 1. But on the other hand, he will have to elevate himself from a mere animalistic status of good to become very good in Elohim eyes. So Adam should rule not just by Elohim way to be good, but he should somehow elevate himself to be very good in order to enter the next day of creation, the seventh. So how can Adam elevate himself to be very good, and not just good? Being good is just the end of a member of evolution. If Adam continued to be animalistic extension of evolution, then by definition he's only good. But Elohim wished Adam to become more than that, to rule himself and to rule the world in a very good fashion. Not to rule him like Elohim, the tyrant, but in another way. And another way that will make him very good. So how could Adam achieve that? So Elohim in his kindness wanted to show Adam how to do that. He would show it by himself, as we're going to see, by making several concessions towards Adam, and also by giving Adam the Torah guidance that will allow Adam to be not just an animalistic king, but a king that is very good. So what, and then we'll discuss it and see what it means to be a very good king. So Elohim, the first thing he did to demonstrate what it means that Adam would be a very good king. So he stepped down from the pedestal of dictatorship, and he spoke, instead of saying like a dictator, let it be Adam, instead of issuing an order, he said in plural in a different tone, soft tone. Let us make Adam in our form and our image. So he stepped down from the pedestal of a dictatorship, awesomely ruling the universe awesomely alone, to become a king who consult, who speak in plural. We, the king of England, which means we are the king, we are not dictators. We have counselors around us. Here, Elohim is more than that. He consults, with whom he consults, speak in plural, whoever is in a room, things that he himself created. His own deed, his own subject. So Elohim consulted the 6 days, the wisdom, everything that mentioned in the room, that he himself built. He consulted them to make Adam. He consulted the only thing that he ruled over, he consulted his subject to create Adam. So, if I summarize, he stepped down from dictatorship to become a king who consults the other. The very word king in Hebrew, melech nimlach, means to consult, as opposed to moshel with the upper hand. And Elohim did it on purpose to show how Adam should rule the world and become very good king. How do I know that he did it on purpose? Because that's what Rashi says, that they bring the story from the Midrash, saying that when the angels heard Elohim talking in plural, they asked him, our king, aren't you afraid that you have opened a door for idolaters to think that there are more than one creator you speak in plural? You open the door for idolaters. So Elohim answered, according to the story, my angel, I speak in plural and risk idolatry, and I take the chance, because it's more important to teach Adam how to rule with modesty. That the superior, I wanted to show Adam that the superior will always consult the inferior. It means democratic king. Meaning, only if Adam choose to this way to rule himself, rather than be ruling with the upper hand as a dictator, by democratic ruling, he can become very good. So democratic way is very good way of government, as opposed to dictatorial, who tend to finally eliminate itself. Remember, Elohim would have eliminated the entire 6 days, and he continued to act like a dictator. Every dictator tends to eliminate his kingship. Take Mao Zedong at the end of his life, take Stalin, inflict terror at the end of his life, take the Satan Hitler, who actually ordered to destroy Germany the last week of the war, because they betrayed the Führer. And that's true for any tyrant. It can be very efficient for the time, yet it will always, I can approve you, the Torah studied openly that a dictatorship will destroy itself. So the only way to run away from that, the only way to get forward and to reach the eternal Sabbath in the future, to survive, mankind needs to withstand the attraction of dictatorship and opt for democratic way to listen, to step down and to listen. Now that trial of kingship is so important in Moses' eye that he elected to present it at the opening of the 5 books. That's the major declaration. In one stroke of a pen, Moses elevated the democratic way of kingship from a mere theoretical good way to rule, as the Greek did it, conceived of it, as a decent way to rule. Moses elevated it to religious dictum. Democracy is not just a convenient, nice way to rule ourselves logically. It is the best way, the only way to become very good kingship, and to survive. And it's an obligation from the Torah how to run your government. Such an important point that Moses presented it at the beginning of the book. Now, the Torah also tells us how should we elect the democratic king on us. So in Deuteronomy, the Torah says, a king you should place on yourself. From among your peers, you should be elected. A king you should place on yourself. You place it. You are the sovereign. And you elect the king. David was anointed by Samuel, but he never ascended on the throne without the elder of Israel electing him. The king should be elected by the real sovereign, by the public, by the people. They are the sovereign. Not only that, a king you should appoint on yourself. It means you give him authority. The fact that you elected him doesn't mean you can do now whatever you want. You give him authority to rule, to get some orders and laws and to enforce them, that you should fear of him. So you are the master of the place, the real soul, yet you give him the authority to rule over you. He cannot enforce himself by the sword on you. Moreover, the Torah says, and from among your peers should be elected. It cannot be an alien. Why? Because he needs to consult with you. He needs to use by the art of consultation, by listening, by understanding his people, by understanding the people who elected him. If he's an alien, he can miss a lot of points. Now, what else Elohim did to show Adam how to develop a democratic way that is very good kingship? Besides stepping down from the throne of dictatorship, Elohim turned to the attribute of mercy, rule the Sabbath, asking her to come over and rule the universe with him and make Adam together. And so she comes in to rule the universe with him. So he is sharing his power with another attribute of mercy. And that's what Elohim wants Adam to do. It's not just enough to develop the democratic government and that we elect him, the government. We elect that we set the government on top of us. This government should incorporate in it the value of the merciful attribute, which is not the value of Elohim. So Elohim wants Adam to do something that he himself wouldn't do. Or to follow the example, he invited her to share the heavenly court. We should invite her to her value to our heart and accommodate ourselves to her values. So we develop our kingship, our democratic way, along the two values, the values of the law of Elohim and the wisdom of Elohim, to become very efficient, like Elohim did, but without forgetting the merciful one, without incorporating her into the endeavor. How we should do that? Enormous task. What exactly we are talking about? Here comes the story of King Nimrod in the Tower of Babylon. In short, if you remember, Nimrod started as an exceptionally successful democratic ruler. This was soon after the flood. 70 nations had a covenant between them. They will not attack each other. They had one value, one language. They all believe in God. And they elected Nimrod, who was a great-grandson of Noah. Noah was still alive. And they all elected him because he was a good orator. The verse says that he was a great hunter before Hashem. You are not an hunter before Hashem by killing animals, but you hunt people's mind and heart. Actually, towards Hashem, he was a righteous person at the beginning, at least. And he was such a great orator that he understood every flick, every mind, and every aspiration, every politics of each of the 70 nations. How? The Midrash said that when he was young, his father Cush sent him all over the 70 nations. So he learned inside their mind and heart, and so much that each person, each nation thought that Nimrod is one of his own rank. And finally, when time came, they all voted for him. And he became the ruler of earth in absolute beautiful democratic way. He learned to listen, and he provided whatever they wanted. So the king listened and provide as much as he can, knowing the politics. And everyone was happy. So was King Nimrod. Until a new technology came in, a brick technology, that allowed them to build towers, walls, and to start a huge project of the Tower of Babylon. Nimrod, who was very attentive to the human heart, he understood, he saw how thrilled people are when they came from the villages, from the farm, to join a project like that. Here they are part of a huge project. They are young. They meet other people, and they have an hierarchy, make them proud. I am in charge of a corridor. You are the charge of a wing. There is a uniform, wings, ranks. Society is developing. And as the tower went up and up, so was Nimrod's status. In fact, that's the way the pyramid was built. Yeah, it was not by slaves, but rather young people who flocked to the pyramid for 2 months in a year. They have the best food, entertainment, comradeship. They sat at night, sang song, and they have a concept of a country and rank and hierarchy, and Pharaoh status went up and up and up, became divine. So was Nimrod. Very soon his status was so high that he became like a divine ruler. It's the art of communication. He was an orator, but he also commuted by memos, by orders, and he became a dictator. What a wonderful example of dictatorship that developed without a sword within democratic regime. Endeavor, social, economic endeavor, a project that can involve thousands and thousands of people who come from their own will to join proudly a project, can develop into a huge dictatorial regime that the only interest they had is a bottom line. They want to succeed, to build a building. And you succeed if you follow Elohim law. If you follow Elohim law and you build the tower like Elohim build nature by orders, you can be very efficient and you can climb up and up and up and up. And a point came when the interest of the tower was so paramount that they didn't have any mercy anymore on the workers. The Midrash says if someone fell from the 10th floor, they lamented not him, but the brick that they lost. And that's exactly when a merciful one attribute intervened in the tower. The verse says explicitly that when Hashem went down and asked, and said, I know if they follow that way, they can reach whatever they want. If they follow Elohim dictatorial way, and the corporation or the group or the tower go up and only by the bottom line and mercilessly, they can indeed reach March and the end of the cosmos. There is nothing can stop them. But I don't like the way they do it. On the worker become dispensable, disposable. And Elohim, the merciful one, disrupt this power of communication. And he spoke and they didn't understand him. They talked to him, he didn't understand them. And the tower fell apart. Not because of some technical problem, but because Hashem intervened in the power of communication. What a message to our time. So the lesson is, build a tower, but not forget the safety net. Don't forget the workers. Don't forget the plight of the individual. Don't throw away people just because you cut down the budget and you throw people to the trash. Don't do that. Oh yeah, it can improve the value of your stock. But at the end, it will be very bitter. Again, what we are talking is a form of, we are looking for the best way of government, according to the Torah. We talk about dictatorship can achieve a lot. We talk about a better way, which is democratic way, but it has a danger that within democratic way, without lifting a sword, you can see nucleus of dictatorship developing, which are extremely powerful and can reach the sky and can lead us forward in huge steps under democracy, using Elohim ways to other detrimental. So think about it. So now let's move on. We draw some ideas. So what we will already learn. So next question is, what is the best shape of this democratic government? How should it look like? What the democratic governor should look like? Where it should sit? What form of government it should lead? Is it sitting in a tent and giving order or discussing? Now, let's see what the Torah says about it. And the Torah devotes an entire commandment for that. Commandment number 5, which it says civil order and justice. Number 5, exemplified in the book of Genesis in the story of Jacob. He shows you all sort of justice and civil order. But in fact, the commandment number 5, civil order and justice, includes or covers all the aspects of government. The judiciary system, the legislative system, and the executive system. How? The judiciary system. That's very simple. That's written, the Rambam writes about it. Commandment number 5 obliged all Noahide, all nations, to do something positively, not just to avoid injustice, but to step up and do something, which is, 1, to build court in every district. 2, to place in those courts qualified justices who know the stuff. What kind of people should be elected? Yitro, Moses' son, father-in-law, tell Moses what kind of people should be elected to judges. One who don't take bribe, strong character. There are a lot of qualification there. Noahide Yitro tell Moses what to elect for as the judges. Think about it. So number one is the court itself. Number two, the judges. Number three, Rambam writes, the obligation to set up a loyal police who can enforce the verdict of the court. That's as much as a judiciary system. We can talk a lot about it, but there is also, Torah talk about the legislative part and the executive part, where in many places, but the foremost place is in the Ten Commandments itself. In the first of the Ten Commandments, God, Elohim actually, present himself in a certain way, again to show Adam how to rule the universe in the same way that talked about before. Elohim is going to give Adam guidance how to rule. Here he gives Adam commandment as a king, and he refers to himself as a king, like how I am your Hashem, your Elohim, number 2, line 2, who took you out of Egypt, 3 lines. So the kingship of Hashem will give commandment. Commandment, by definition, comes from the king. So Hashem himself, Elohim himself, speaks as a king, and he says, I am the supreme master of the place, sovereign. Line number 2, Hashem Elohim. There are 2, mercy and judgment, but actually it's a two way to rule the world. I can rule the world with sitting on the throne of justice, sheer justice, or sheer mercy, and I need to combine the 2. So line number 2 is a debate between 2 ways or many ways to how to rule the universe, because Elohim may have many attributes how to rule the universe. So, and now number 3, I took you out of Egypt, which is kingship. I am intervening in history, and I'm giving also those commandments. So that's not just introduction, it's a commandment that Adam should, or we should, emulate in our governmentship. We should emulate Elohim kingship by those 3 levels. I am, there is a sovereign here. In the American governmentship, the sovereign is the American public. Line 2, Hashem Elohim, debate, the different way to debate the way how to rule, either like a mercy or judgment, whatever. So you have 2 parties, the Congress, who debate the way to rule. And they issue legislation, or they filter down to line 3, which is the kingship. I took you out of Egypt, kingship. So again, sovereign, the Congress, debate the issue how to rule, how to issue orders and legislation, which filter down to the king, the president, Now the president should follow Nimrod, so to speak. He should be attentive to people's plight. He should be the one who is extremely sensitive to the politics of the day, what this party wants, what this man wants. So that's not the function of the legislator, but the president translates it into the real world by knowing the real world firsthand. Now, this structure of the American government, the three level, is not incidental, my friend. Years ago, Wendell Jones, Reverend Wendell Jones, the last speech he gave to us, as far as I know, it was a small room in the convention, and he was already sick, weak. We hardly saw him throughout the convention. Usually it was everywhere. He was so cheerful and happy, and now he's secluded in a room, hardly walking around. But then there was a moment, they allocated some time for him to speak. So he came out to a small room, maybe 30 or 50 people were there. I was there too, sitting quite close. And he delivered a speech. It was amazing to see the frail man suddenly standing up, strong like ever before. Suddenly his voice was rich as ever before, and he spoke beautifully from all his heart. And he spoke about the United States government that is predicated on Noahide laws on purpose. He quoted the founding fathers writing. It covered a lot of material that shows how they were tuned to those issues, how they constructed the government structure of the United States, the Constitution, along those three lines that I just said. Of course, the real sovereign is God. But when it comes, he gave us the right to set up our own governmentship along the example that he shows. So we, American people, and so on, are the sovereign, and the Congress and the kingship. Those concepts come from the Bible, as they call it, Torah. And in that fashion, America is the only nation on earth that has set up its governmentship as the best government in the world because it followed the Torah. And that's why it will endure. And lo and behold, United States Congress at that time about issue a declaration that the moral fabric of this nation is based on the seven laws of Noah, signed by President Bush Sr. That's the only country in the world that has issued such a declaration. We should understand what a giant step it is. There is a giant step to set up on the moon and to reach Mars. and to reach the next galaxy, that's fine. But there is no lesser giant step to be done to recognize the Torah as the base of our life and the base of our government. Think about it. And United States already stepped up on that Jacob letter to reach Hashem. Amazing. So let's hope that the new government, the new president of the United States will continue his good work that he has done before. He will introduce peace to the Middle East, get rid of the fanatic and the fanaticism, and bring real prosperity, not only to the Middle East, but to the entire world. Thank you, and we'll be with you next week. Take care.